Welcome to this lecture where we'll take our lovely emoji and animate it in Photoshop. Though there are better suited programs for the job, Photoshop gives you several tools that can help you create nice-looking GIFs. Start by duplicating your PSD in your operating system just so you won't have any surprises. To get into animation mode, go to Window, Timeline. You'll notice this large bar has appeared at the bottom of the program and you may want to shrink it down a bit. I'll keep it fairly large so you can see what's going on. Click on this button to get started. The first step is to adjust our settings so we can work on the same interface. I'm using CC 2017 by the way, so if you're working on a previous version, be prepared for some minor visual differences. Click on this small icon and choose Panel Options. From this new window, change the timeline units from timecode to frame number. Notice the bottom left corner. Currently we're at frame 0, which is our starting point. You'll have to focus a lot on this field because this is how we'll get our bearings. Next to it, you'll notice our current FPS. Here, this is 30 frames per second by default. At our Android Design Studio, when we create emojis, we always use another value. Click here yet again, and from this list, choose Set Timeline Frame Rate. From this drop-down, I suggest you use 23.976. It's a bit of a random number, but we found this works best. Great, now here's how this works. All the layers and groups from the Layers panel are reflected here. When you modify certain things like opacity or position, those edits will be shown in this timeline. That's how we're going to work. Initially, it might seem intimidating, but you'll see the process is effortless. Let's start with the eyebrows. These should be set at the top of your Layers panel, by the way. It's not all that important, but I prefer a top-to-bottom approach. The order will be reflected in your timeline as well. Inside it, you should have two shapes, but we need to convert them to a smart object to keep things streamlined. Now that this is done, you need to focus on the timeline panel and expand this folder. Now expand this layer as well. Here you'll notice three things: transform, opacity, and style. For the eyebrows, we want to move them up and down, so that means we'll use a transformation. While on frame 0, click on this stopwatch icon and this will set your initial position. You'll notice a yellow symbol has appeared on your timeline that marks a keyframe. Now grab this blue handle and move it towards the right. Keep an eye on the bottom left and stop when you get to 4. If you're having trouble, click on this icon from the bottom of the panel, which will increase your zoom level. There you go, this is much better. Next, we need to raise the eyebrows, so while on the Move tool, hold Shift and tap the up arrow key twice. As soon as you do that, a new symbol will appear on your timeline. That's Photoshop's way of telling you it's noticed a change in position. So right now we have the birth of our animation. If you move the handle back and press space, you'll see a preview. The eyebrows raise up. That's the basis of this entire process. Hit Ctrl-T and we'll also slightly enlarge them to 108%. This will make it a bit more interesting. What comes next is a little back and forth. We have our initial position in frame 0, the up position in frame 4, now we need to bring the layer back down. So move this slider to frame 12 and click on this small icon. That's going to create a new one. By the way, through these two arrows you can jump back and forth between frames, which is highly useful. Here we need to copy the properties of the first frame and paste them. So right-click, copy. Right-click, paste. Basically, we made the eyebrows start from their original position, go up, then move back down. We left a bit of space so the animation wouldn't be too fast, hence the difference between frames. Frame 16 is a repeat of frame 4 where they move up, so copy-paste it. This is going to be the situation throughout this animation process, by the way, so I hope you're patient and you're ready for it. Finally, we'll go to frame 23, which is the last one, and we'll paste frame 0's properties. And since we've reached the end of loop, we need to bring this right handle exactly above frame 23. The thing is, the longer the timeline, the bigger the GIF size. On a desktop, that's not an issue, but we design 30, 40, 50 emojis per pack for mobile use, hence the size is critical, so we have to make do with this duration. Okay, to test out our animation so far, let's click on this icon from the right side yet again. From this list, choose Loop Animation, which will mean the animation will play constantly. This is how your eyebrows should move at this point. Think about it, we've clicked on the transformation stopwatch to create the initial point, which was normal. Then we added a frame where the layer went up, then back to normal, up, and normal for the last one. Frames 4 and 16 are up, while the other 3 are set at default. Great stuff. Now with this knowledge, we'll go through all of the rest of the layers and groups and we'll end up with a fantastic emoji. Let's do the eyes next. Collapse this group and open up the other one. Here it's the same story with these 2 layers. They have to be converted to a smart object. I don't want to merge them because I want to be able to edit them later on. The first step is always create the starting point. Click on the transformation stopwatch or timer, whatever you want to call it. For the next frames, we'll actually mimic the ones from the eyebrows, so expand that group because it will be easier to follow. Okay, the next frame is number 4. Move your handle over there and repeat the repositioning process, 20 pixels upwards. The frame is now automatically added. Now follow this guideline from the top to add all the other points. Remember they alternate, so frame 12 needs to match frame 0. Frame 4 is paired with frame 16. It's just a matter of copy-pasting and remembering how this works. I'll fast forward just a bit because I'm sure you get the idea. It's exactly the same process as above. Lastly, 23 is a mirror of frame 0, the initial starting point. Okay, let's press spacebar and test it out. Yeah, this is looking promising. Great stuff. Okay, we'll continue in the next lecture. I'll see you soon.